Brent Johnson, and today I'm in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I'm here by myself at St. Lawrence Catholic Church. The instrument here is originally a Felgemaker from 1885. That's when it was installed in its original church. It was moved here to this building in 1918, and it has served faithfully until Ray Brunner, the recently departed Ray Brunner, restored this organ in 2009. We have about 26 ranks here, and it's all in 2 manuals here in this lovely facade up in the gallery of this beautiful church, by the way. We're right in downtown Harrisburg. The Capitol is down the street. So this is a fantastic setting, and I'm excited to go through this lovely instrument and hear some of these Felgemaker sounds. Right behind the facade, we have an 8-foot principal. Very clear singing sound, big and warm. But a lot of clarity and edge to it. On top of that, we have a 4-foot octave. We'll just hear that by itself first. A little darker, warmer sound with the 8-foot. Okay, that adds some clarity. But that 8-foot's still already pretty clear, so it's not hurting for it. And then we have a 2-foot that goes on top of that. And then a 3-rank mixture on top of that. There is a 2 2/3 Nazard that we can draw in between there. I'm going to turn off the mixture and just hear this chorus. It's just the 8 and 2 2/3. It's pretty bright. It adds a lot of color there. Okay, and then we've got some other 8-foot stops, of course. A whole flute here in the grate. Nice flute sound, little attack on it. Eight-foot Gem's horn. Stringy sound. And then there is a Dulciana at 8-foot on top of that. Very soft there. Then a 4-foot flute d'amour. Very nice. With the 8-foot. Lovely. We do have 2 reeds here in this division. We have a trumpet at 8-foot. And that's borrowed to 4-foot. Powerful sound there. And then there's also a clarinet in the grate at 8-foot. That's actually, it's coming from over there. It's in the swell box, but it plays on the grate. Sounds pretty thin, almost oboe-like up here. And then it gets a little fatter. All right. And that's all of the great division. I think that's 12 ranks if I counted right. We'll go over to the swell now. Over in the swell, the first thing we have is our 8-foot Geigen principal. Keep the box closed. Here it is open. Just for comparison, here's the great principal. Much darker, smaller sound there. We don't really have a 4-foot principal, so we don't really have a principal chorus in this division. I'll just keep going across. Stop diapason 8. And then we have an 8-foot solutional. Nice and thin. It's comparing, curious here, the Gemshorn and the great. I almost get more of a stringy sound, but I think it's just the presence. A little broader. Of course, it has a voix celeste to go with it. Which is a very nice sound. It's a lovely sound. That's all the 8-foot sounds in the organ. We then go to a 4-foot harmonic flute. I really like that. It's a bit covered, even though it's got that harmonic sound. You can hear where it changes there, but yeah, it's very nice. I like that. Let me hear it with the 8-foot stop diapason. Let's see. Yeah, that sort of covered. I think of early American sound in my mind. If I add the string to that, gives us a little more brightness with the principal. Brightens it up a little bit. Anyway, going on. 4-foot, we have a Gemshorn in this division as well. And just for comparison, here's the great Gemshorn. This is much brighter. I would almost think that could be a principal with the Geigen principal here. It adds a lot of the brightness. I'm going to put on the 4-foot harmonic flute too. I don't think anybody will be fooled and think that's a principal chorus, but for accompanying, I can see that being really useful to brighten some of those dark 8-foots. There is a 2-foot piccolo. With the 8 and 4-foot flutes. Okay, very nice little, add some brilliance there. Before I leave this row, we do have a 16-foot gedeckt in the swell. Appears to be coming from somewhere else besides the swell box. The 16-foot octave, or some of the 8-foot, is outside. The upper end is inside the swell box. Strings, maybe with our 8-foot flute. If you add the 2-foot and the 4-foot, full flute chorus. See what the tremolo does to that. Okay, shakes it a bit. We have a 2-rank sesquialtera, which goes all the way to low C. It sounds pretty thin, but it's not real loud. So I'm going to try it with the 8-foot principal first. And the Gims horn. You're trying to get a brighter edge out of it. I'm going to try instead the stop diapason and the harmonic flute. I think that's probably more what it was intended to be. We do have a tremolo in this division. Let's see what that adds to it. All right, I like that. And then we have an oboe in the swell. It's small though. Thin, so yeah, useful there. Now, the clarinet, as I mentioned earlier, it's available on the grate, but it plays here in the swell box. You could accompany that with, say, the 8-foots in the grate. Or you could accompany it on the grate, say, with the strings. The 4-foot. And then, of course, the 8-foot trumpet is here available. That definitely is the same one as in the grate. It's very useful to have, all the reeds available everywhere. You can use them as a solo for various things. We do have a good independent pedal in this organ. I'm going to start out here. The first one on the end is the bass flute. And then that continues down to a 16-foot sub-bass. That's all over there on that side of the organ. I can kind of see it through the facade and I can hear it. We have a 16-foot Lieblichgedeckt in the pedal. "16-foot Lieblich," which I don't know if that's the same as the swell. It seems to be. So the 16-foot gedeckt is available as Lieblichgedeckt in the pedal. Have a 16-foot open diapason. Big open wood back there somewhere. So that's a great sound. Then coming over to this side, the pedal continues on the bottom. We have an 8-foot octave. Dead one there. It sounds like these are in the facade. And I was told that there were some issues with some rattles and things, so some of them had actually been disabled until they can get those repaired. A 4-foot choral bass. Which is the same as the 8. That's just the continuation then of that 8-foot octave up. A 4-foot flute. Seems like that might be the same as the swell. That's the same as the Lieblichgedeckt in the swell, so that just comes out of that. So we have the 16. It's surprisingly not an 8-foot, but we don't really need it because we've got this big bass flute and the octave. Then we have, lastly, a reed, a 16-foot independent pedal trombone. It's quite a sound. And that's completely independent. We have the 8-foot trumpet, which is the same as the grate and swell trumpet, which is independent from the trombone, I'm pretty certain. That's the trombone. This is the trumpet. Same. So the 8-foot trumpet is brought down from the manual to the pedal to give you a nice big pedal division, and you can make a lot of noise on this thing. Paul Thomas May is the director of music here at St. Lawrence, and he tells us a bit about this church and its history.
So it's staffed by the Fraternity of St. Peter, which is an organization of priests that is not considered religious, but not considered diocesan. So they're kind of a special, unique order. Well, they're not an order, they're a fraternity. So they celebrate exclusively the Latin Mass, which is why everything in this church, as you can see, the high altar, it's all facing towards the crucifix, which we just recently had retained back from a local high school that suspended one. It just came back in December, just got it back, and that's a historic crucifix. This parish has been around for about 125 years or so, maybe a little bit longer, and it actually used to be up at Walnut Street before the Capitol complex had expanded. So there was a fire in the Capitol complex, and they went to seek out to build a new complex, and so that included expanding the size, and so that meant the historic church that was built there had to be moved. So they ended up purchasing this location here on State Street, along with the cathedral, which is down the street, and there's a few other churches actually just on this street. In addition to having all the various things of the church moved over, some of the statues, the high altar, the organ was moved over from the Walnut Street location to this location once they had dedicated the church and built it in. It gets used a lot, but there's also times when it can't be played at all, like during our Lenten and Advent seasons. There's no organ allowed, no other instruments other than voice, but during the seasons where it is allowed, which is most of the year, it is used pretty extensively. We have, of course, vernacular hymns on the end of either side of the service. We have organ preludes and postludes before and after the Mass, lots of improvisation in order to cover liturgical timing, and occasionally chant and things like that would get accompanied as well.
The chamber is easily accessed through a door here, although there is a radiator and lots of steam pipes to deal with. The first thing we see is some pedal chests, old pipes and old chests. Right next to it we see some new wind chests as well, so there's more new things inside this organ than I was expecting. Along the back wall there is the 16-foot pedal trombone, which appear to be new pipes on new wind chests as well. Turning to our right, we see the sliders there of the new great chest with some old pipes on top. Back behind it, though, we have a new wind chest with what appears to be the great and swell trumpet, which looks new. Behind it, I think that's the 16-foot sub-bass, the Lieblich, the part that's not in the swell box. So that's along the back wall there. Looking at it from above, we count 32 notes there, so that appears to have been a pedal stop that then continues up into some pipes in the swell. There's the open wood back along the back wall, painted so it matches and blends in. And we can look out and we see the facade, the rear of those pipes. And then this is the great division. Mixtures in front. The 2-foot, the 4-foot flute d'amour, the 4-foot octaves next to that. Looks like the Gemshorn. There's the harmonic flute on the other side of that. And the diapason is kind of looks like it's new, so that would explain why it's not as big and muddy a sound as I was expecting. Of course, the Zimbelstern is there too. My apologies for not demonstrating that. There's the bases of the 8-foot diapason, and that's all right next to a swell box. Looking behind the swell box, we see the 16-foot opens back there. And here's a door that takes us into the swell. So we see some original swell shades in here. Our strings in the front. We have some Haskell basses and some stopped metal basses there. And then the 8-foot flute. I think the Celeste there, the Gemshorn. Harmonic flute is there. You can see how it goes harmonic, changes length.
And down we have the 2-foot and the new sesquialtera, and that looks like it was added new. It looks like new pipework. And the oboe here looks like new pipework, although the bases look old. They have some yellowed finish on them. They kind of look like molar trumpets, and in fact, they say trumpet on them. So they were probably some skinny molar trumpets. People were throwing those out left and right at some point, so probably easy to find. But then it goes on up into a new oboe. So they made the trumpet sound oboe-y there. And that appears to be the top of the 16-foot Lieblickedeckt. It doesn't say what it is, but it's on a new chest, and that would explain why some is in and some is out. And the clarinet then is along the back wall. That it looks new on a brand new chest as well. So 11 ranks here inside the swell box. And that's pretty much the organ. Out in the facade, you can see a panel that's been replaced where a console was initially, mechanical console no doubt, was in the facade.
Well, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. My thanks to Paul May and the rest of the staff here at St. Lawrence Church for letting us come in on a Wednesday afternoon and spend some time with their organ. It's fantastic to hear these sounds preserved. Ray Brunner was a fantastic historic preservationist when it came to pipe organ, so he was a wonderful person to rebuild this Felgemaker organ. There's information about the organ and the church down in the description below, so I hope you'll go down there. There's also a link to our website where you can become a sponsor of the Organ Media Foundation and help us bring more of these videos to you. We're heading out next month. We have a lot of destinations in mind, and we want to keep these coming out all summer long and keep you entertained. So please help us do that by becoming a sponsor. We are a 501c3, so your contributions can be tax deductible. But the most important thing you can do right now is to subscribe to our channel and click the bell for notifications so you'll know when those next videos come out. And always, if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up because it helps us find more viewers just like you. Until our next video is out, of course, we can always find streaming classical organ music on our 3 stations, organlive.com, Positively Baroque, and The Organ Experience. We're about to hit the road, and I will be coming to you from yet somewhere else. So until then, I'm Brent Johnson. Thank you for watching.